I, 28 female, have an older brother, 32. He's married to sister-in-law, 33. I get along with her well, except for this one point. If you don't keep an eye on her, she will get into the kitchen and add seasonings to whatever's cooking. She thinks she's fixing stuff, but not all foods need turmeric. This Saturday I received 40 pounds of tomatoes. It took me the whole weekend to turn it into a sauce I plan to can. Depending on the recipe, I can make it plain, then add whatever seasonings and herbs it needs. They came to take a bag of spare clothes for one of their kids. In the 5 minutes it took me to get it, she managed to get into the kitchen and add salt, pepper, turmeric, olive oil, garlic powder and Italian herbs to all 5 pots simmering on the stove. And when I asked her what she was doing, she dared to say, "This sauce needed some taste, I added it for you." I'd never told her not to touch what I was cooking before. I was so angry that I knew I couldn't talk calmly with her, so I simply walked to my brother, told him to take the clothes and his wife and that she was no longer welcome in my house. She followed me, was shocked and started apologising, but I just ignored her. I added that he should come by tomorrow to take the sauce his wife ruined because otherwise it would be thrown away and that I expected 40 pounds of replacement tomatoes. They left and he returned with the tomatoes, an apology letter from her and an apology carrot cake, my favourite. But I told him that I stand by my decision. Now my parents got involved since I'm the one that usually hosts, and since she's not allowed in my house, I told them to make alternate plans for the next family gathering. My husband says I'm in the right, but my parents say my reaction is way overblown. So, am I the idiot? She managed to get into the kitchen and add salt, pepper, turmeric, olive oil, garlic powder, and Italian herbs to all 5 pots that were simmering on the stove. Like, what the heck? Marinara flags everywhere. This is so boundary disrespecting, disrespectful and insulting to what you're cooking, and it wasn't even for her. Not the idiot for being furious. I do think she's learned her lesson though. Yeah, and even if you didn't season it at all, her behaviour is completely wild. Who seasons food they're not only not cooking but not even eating? Who cares if your tomato sauce is totally bland? Is she the Spice Girls' 6th member, Sabotage Spice? I'm so fascinated by the pathology of this. What the heck is going through her head? Is it an impulse issue? Does she think she's a better cook than everyone else? Bizarre. There are all kinds of wrong with messing with someone else's cooking. What if you were making something for someone allergic to turmeric? Good on your brother for replacing the tomatoes and on her for apologising. That said, you're still in the right to ban her from the house, especially if that's happened multiple times and you've been clear with her that it's unacceptable. Tell your parents, I won't be hosting her anymore since she clearly doesn't like my cooking. But I'm sure she and her brother will be happy to host since she's so eager to demonstrate her skills in the kitchen. You are entitled to hold your boundary even after her apology. A cake is a nice gesture, but it's not enough to gain your trust back. If you're thinking about letting her back in, I would ensure the apology is real first. Not, I'm sorry if your feelings were hurt, but something that takes responsibility for her actions. I added seasoning to your giant tomato sauce project without asking. This was out of line, and I shouldn't have done it. It's my fault and I'm sorry. In the future, I'm planning to not enter your kitchen unless invited, and I won't even look. I shield my eyes with my hand until I get permission to look around. It's not really about the flavours, it's about control. She is taking possession of the food by adding her seasonings, making it her dish even if it's cooking on another person's stove. She then pretends to have rescued the food with her additions, simultaneously calling Opie a bad cook while plumping her own ego. Replacing the tomatoes does nothing for the lost labour. I would go no contact with her. My female 30 husband is typically the one to do the school run on his way back from work, but he's got a nasty sinus infection, so I took over. My daughter, pre-tween, has a new classmate. I haven't met their parents yet. When I got there, a group of mums I know were standing there waiting for their kids, and I joined them. The new kid's mum was there as well. I got there, we chatted and got acquainted, and she asked what I did for a living. I said that I ran a small business from home. I genuinely do. I hand-make jewellery and sell on platforms such as Etsy or Amazon and make more than I ever did in my corporate job. Her answer shocked me. So you're on benefits then? My mouth dropped and I said no, I run my own business. She said she knew my type and I was just lying to not look bad, upper middle class neighbourhood. I told her to mind her own damn business. She called me a scrounger and an idiot without manners. I removed myself from the situation. When leaving with my daughter, I heard one of the other mums telling her that I was really successful. I wished I turned around to see her face. Now I'm thinking about this and I feel bad. It wasn't my proudest moment and I feel like I've made school runs awkward for my husband now. Am I the idiot? Because if so, I'll have to apologise. Not the idiot. She disrespected you first. All you did was stand up for yourself. Good for you. She was super out of line. You should probably warn your husband, though. That mum sounds like an entitled troublemaker, so he should know what happened in case she tries to start some nasty gossip or confront him about it randomly. I would casually bring it up to your daughter's teacher as well. Ask if your daughter is getting along with the new kid. You want to make sure your girl is being kind because you and the other mom had a confrontation and you don't want the girls to pick up on it. Something like that. Come from the position that you're concerned about how your daughter is behaving. As a teacher myself, believe me, they will want to know. I'd put money on that mom telling her kid that you and your family are mean. The kid might internalise this and be unkind to your daughter at school. Any knowledge we can get about what goes on for kids outside of school is helpful for what goes on inside the school. Do not apologise. New mom stuck her foot in her mouth. She should apologise to you. Oh, and she may have something tart to say about your husband being unemployed or a kept man, or who knows what. I roll my eyes. Since he's doing the school run with all the mums. OP, you are far from the idiot here. Be prepared for more of this down the line. She's going to stir up crap for all of you, I guarantee you. She didn't stick her foot in her mouth, which suggests that she was accidentally offensive. That woman was deliberately mean and classist, and there was absolutely nothing accidental about her remarks. Also, I think she likes OP's husband. I'd be careful around her. Seems dangerous. I, 29 male and my grandmother's oldest grandchild. As such, I was stuck looking after my little cousins at family gatherings during my whole childhood and young adulthood. This was never really an issue for me as I generally like kids and my cousins were really fun to hang out with. Unfortunately, when my cousin Amy, 27 female, got married and had kids of her own, male and female toddlers, she assumed that I would take up the position of default babysitter for them. I was not okay with this and I told her as much, but she just kept pawning them off on me. I'm too non-confrontational to put my foot down directly, and the global issue hit, so it became a non-issue anyways. Since we've started having big gatherings again, I had to find excuses to miss family events, usually that I was showing plague symptoms or a friend or co-worker had it. Recently my mom confronted me about avoiding family, and I told her the real reason. She said she understood and that she talked to Amy about it. Of course I didn't ask her to, I don't need my mom to solve all my problems, lol, but she's the family diplomat and busybody, it's what she does. Well, apparently Amy just had to gossip to the rest of the family, and now I'm getting calls and texts from family basically saying that I'm selfish and that I hate my cousin's kids. I don't, and how dare I make my family worry about me just because I wouldn't suck it up and watch the kids for a few hours. That point has made me start to think, am I the idiot? Edit. I don't drink and I don't think I ever will. No big reason, it's just that I get wicked hangover migraines in the morning after, to the point that I haven't gotten any more than a little buzzed in a few years. I will not be putting myself through that to spite my family. Not the idiot. Everyone who has contacted you can step in as a default babysitter. Point that out to the family. This is not your job in the family any more than it's theirs. Amy can take care of her own children. Start some group texts. Cousin so-and-so said it's no big deal to watch your kids for a few hours. See you this weekend. You've set a boundary and now they're all giving you crap for it and expect you to fall in line and do whatever they want you to, the way they're used to you doing it. Screw all that noise. Dude, you're a 30-year-old man and an invitation is not a summons. Go hang with people that want you there for you, not for what you can do for them. Here's the really head-shaking part for me. Multiple family gatherings have occurred that OP made excuses to get out of. Gatherings that the cousin and her kids were presumably at. They're not saying, hey man, it's all good, the kids are covered and we miss you. They're saying, suck it up. They know exactly what these gatherings have been like without him and are just trying to rope him back into kid duty instead of them. They're probably as bad or worse at telling cousin to mind her own kids as OP was originally. Babysitters get paid, so seriously dude, You're going to have to deal with this or never see your family again. Personally, I'd make a list of everyone who got on your case and tell Amy they volunteered to watch her kids. Also, tell her she can shove off and that you aren't spending your whole life as her personal unpaid nanny. My friend has been dating a new guy for a few months and wanted me to tag along for drinks yesterday so I could meet him for the first time. I was willing to hang out with them and have a good time, so I agreed. About an hour before I was supposed to meet them, my friend called me and asked me for photos of what I planned to wear. I told her I would probably decide last minute after showering. We were just going to a bar, so I figured it wasn't that serious. She insisted I dress down and asked me not to wear any makeup. For reference, I wear very little to no makeup, so I found her request extremely strange. At this point, I was annoyed. I asked her why she was trying to police what I wore and how I looked. I could just stay home if she was uncomfortable with me being there. I only agreed to do this because she asked me to. She apologized and said she was just looking out for me because I don't frequently go to bars and didn't want me to look silly. I thanked her for her concern and hung up. While I stuck to my usual makeup routine, I decided to wear a dress that I was looking forward to wearing on a date. I was meeting my boyfriend for dinner after drinks with my friend and her boyfriend, so I figured it was the perfect time to put it on. She was immediately upset when I arrived at the bar to meet my friend and her boyfriend. She pulled me aside and accused me of trying to steal her boyfriend. I told her she was being ridiculous, hadn't even said more than a hi before she flew off the handle. She was standoffish the whole time I was with them, but I had a nice conversation with her boyfriend because we grew up in the same part of town. I had allotted about 2 hours to hang out with them, but I decided to leave after an hour. My friend messaged me the next day and said she was extremely hurt because I decided to dress hot despite her asking me not to. She thinks I purposely tried to make her look bad in front of her new boyfriend. I said she was insane because I've been dating my boyfriend for 3 years and don't want anything to do with hers. She's still extremely upset and won't talk to me even after I tried to make amends. Not the idiot. Your friend is obviously projecting here. You can wear whatever you want. Little makeup, no makeup, tons of makeup. Who cares? What you wear shouldn't matter. She won't have a boyfriend for long if she keeps hounding people she feels threatened by at every chance. She sounds insecure and that's her problem. Look, I'm not young, but I've heard of this more and more lately. Is this a thing now? Asking people for a photo of what they're going to wear to stuff and then telling them to change because they're too hot? Like, what the heck? This is a huge red flag from OP's friend. I can't imagine any of my friends telling me what I can and cannot wear around their boyfriends. She's definitely insecure, but it also seems like an insult to OP. If she thinks OP is going to steal her boyfriend, that shows how little she thinks of her. And if the new boyfriend would be ready to go after OP, he's not worth her time. Oh boy, it's going to be so rough for that boyfriend when he's decided he's had enough and breaks up with Crazy, LOL. Girl, please, why are you trying to make amends when you did nothing wrong? She's not the kind of friend you need to keep around. How dare she try to control your appearance? The fact that she tried to make it seem like she was looking out for you just goes to show how comfortable she is at manipulating you. I strongly recommend finding better friends who don't cause unnecessary drama in your life. I'm getting married in a few weeks. My bachelorette party is this weekend. We'll be spending the weekend out at the wineries and other activities. My soon-to-be husband's younger sister is one of my bridesmaids. A few weeks ago, when we discussed the bachelorette party, she told us she wouldn't attend it. She gave no real reason other than she didn't know anyone very well and didn't want to take days off work. Pretty much, she just didn't want to come. After everything was booked, it came to about $600 a person. My maid of honor sent sister-in-law a Venmo request for her portion since she's still part of the wedding party. Sister-in-law sent a message to the group text trying to understand why she should be expected to pay. We informed her that as part of the wedding party, it's expected to help pay for the bachelorette. She didn't have a real reason she couldn't come, she just didn't want to. Of course, that doesn't get her off the hook for the responsibility she signed up for. Now, the trip is tomorrow. The other bridesmaids are angry they had to pull out money to cover the sister-in-law portion. I sent her a message explaining what comes along with being a bridesmaid and asking her to please send my maid of honor the money because she's putting a downer on the weekend and ruining it. I've not heard back and the bridesmaids are super angry they're out of money. You are the idiot. I'm sorry, but let me get this straight. You're demanding $600 from her for what exactly? She said she didn't want to go on the trip weeks ago and seemed intent on keeping her word. How are you out of money when you shouldn't have planned for her to be a part of the trips? And what the heck are you going to do that costs $600 per person? I hosted a 2-day bachelorette party for my friend that included a 5-star hotel and multiple events. It cost $200 per person. $600 is ridiculous for wineries, food and Ubers. She's a bridesmaid. Her responsibilities are to show up at your wedding, buy an ugly dress she will never wear again, and stand next to you with the others. She has no obligation to be involved in your extracurricular activities at all. Your maid of honor is foolish for making plans that assumed a certain number of participants chipping in without taking into account which could or would attend. Absolutely, the ugly dress with matching shoes and jewelry that doesn't match anything else. But the audacity to plan it after she already said she couldn't go, and the OP wouldn't accept it as a valid reason, and then basically sending her a bill? What entitled BS! She doesn't know the OP anything, which is a horrible way to treat someone whose family the OP is joining. I wonder if the bride charges guests for dinner if they RSVP no. OP, perhaps she chose not to come because she can't afford to pay $600. However, people do need to buy food and pay bills. It's also weird that you made your bridesmaids cover the difference. You shouldn't be planning things that you can't afford. You're being ridiculous.